I'm just waiting for 5 more minutes. Let all students join, and then I'm going to start today's session. I'm showing you the presentation slide for today's session, and I have already shared the agenda on the groups that you guys are added on, and then we are going to move forward with the today's plan. I hope so. I'm visible, and my screen is also visible to you all. Along with this, I'm audible to everyone. This session is going to continue for next 4 hours. We will have some small breaks in between, and then we are going to go forward. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and see my presentation slide, along with you can see me as well on the right side of your video. Just pin faculty Tabanis and you will be able to see me. You have to pin faculty Tabanis and you'll be able to see me. I'm just trying to attach my charger. Just see. Yes, please. Am I audible now? And am I visible to everyone? I'm holding a cup of tea. So if you can see me, you can see my tea as well. I'm visible to everyone. Yes, please. I don't know why is it the case that to some students I'm visible and to the others I'm not. Just click on the, you can see the participant tab being given to you. What you need to do, you need to pin the faculty tab, which says the host, not the co-host, the host one. You need to pin that host tab, and and the other impact will be that I'll be visible to you all. I hope so. I guess there are some students who are joining. They are still joining, so let's just wait for 5 more minutes maybe, and then we can move forward with our presentation and with our talk of the day. Um, Many of you know me, and I'll just be giving you a small formal introduction of mine. I'll not be going into details, as I know many students are well aware of me teaching this examination to you. And students who don't know me, um, a formal introduction is that I've been teaching this subject since way too long now. And this I've been teaching this subject in every single quarter of the year, and since more than two or maybe more than 2 years, I've been constantly doing this strategic business leader workshop, just in order to facilitate every single student around the corner. Now, this specific workshop or these specific handouts are very well drafted just for the sake so that you guys can be facilitated in the most prominent and the most effective manner possible. Again, my students who have recently joined, I guess there are some students who have recently joined. So, my name is Sheikh Bilal Haque, and many of you might be knowing me with my brand name of SBH. I welcome you all in this specific a small rule of thumb will be that we are not going to open mic in between the session. You guys are not going to open the mic in between the session. If you want to ask any specific question relating to the things that I'm teaching right now, you can ask. But see, now these next 4 days are going to be very important. These next 4 days are going to be very, very, very important. The reason being is that in today's class, I'm going to take at least 4 or 4.5 hours to facilitate you all. So you need to stick in front of your screen. We are not charging even a single financial amount for your workshop to everyone around the globe. So I request everyone to kindly have patience. Make sure that you have your register and a pen in front of you. You are noting some points. I'll be sharing this presentation slides with you all. I'll be sharing a Google Drive in which I'll add these presentation slides so that you can have an access to them afterwards. But make sure you use this specific time period in the most prominent and in the most perfect manner. Again, um, thank you so much for joining. I hope so. Every one of you have joined, or we can start right now, and then afterwards we'll be moving forward. So let's start. Let's have a quick uh, starting point, and then we'll be moving forward. Let's see. Okay. So again, this is the strategic business leader webinar to success or prepare to pass session, and I'm doing this for September 2022 attempt. This is one of the examination that is the most prominent one, and many of you are scared of this examination. Is my presentation moving? uh, is my presentation slide going ahead or not? Yeah. Okay. So the objective, the first thing is the workshop to success. I'm going to start this workshop. um, I have already shared the agenda with you all. I hope so you all must have gone through the agenda. The first thing is that I'll be conducting a mock exam. And remember, that mock exam is not going to be the past paper. That mock exam is a different type of paper. So I request you all those students who are going to attempt this past paper, or sorry, this past paper session, will have to attempt the mock, right? Just give me a minute. Just a minute, please. Okay, so let's just quickly start now. I guess, are you facing some audio issues? Actually, I muted my mic. Or am I audible? I guess I'm audible to every one of you. Right, right. So let's just quickly start. And I guess now I'm visible as well. Okay, so the objective, the first thing that we are going to go through is the objective, the passing rate of this examination. Surprisingly, one of the best passing rate. One more thing, in every single workshop that I do like this, majority of students are asking me, so what benefit are you going to get at the end of the day? So the benefit is that you're going to remember my name. Um, if you're going to clear this exam, you're going to tell other students that, okay, now this was the guy whom you have studied from. So this is the best benefit that I can get at the end. And you're going to remember me in your prayers as well, right? So let's not waste time and let's move forward. Again, the objective of the workshop, of this specific workshop, is to make you guys successful. Yes, it's long-term value creation, obviously. The objective is to provide direction to pass the SBL exam, a direction to meet the examiner, right? Within next few days, we are going to meet the examiner. Not meeting the examiner, not specifically mean that we will be meeting the examiner in terms of meeting the examiner, not specifically mean that we'll be meeting him in person, but meeting the examiner means that we are going to meet the examiner from the perspective of the examiner's comment, right? So in next few days, we will be meeting the examiner and we will get close to the examiner's mindset. Now, that is something which is very important. In my regular classes as well, the classes that I've conducted at Tabani School of Accountancy, I have been chanting this again and again, that you need to go through the examiner's comment. You need to go through the examiner's comment in order to make yourself prepare best, or in order to make yourself prepare the best for this examination. And trust me over the fact that examiner comment is the most appropriate manner in order to identify your mistakes and in order to get close to the examiner's viewpoint. This session over the next 4 days will be the mind opener for all, and you and for all of you. Is my voice distorting? Is there any voice issues? Is it clear now? My voice is audible now? Okay. So it says, I guess there might be some lacking, but let's just ignore that part and let's move forward. Sorry, I'm having an amazing tea right now. Uh, this session is going to go for the next 4 days. If you guys were in front of me, I would have shared it with you. Will be a mind opener for all, and you, all of you, as they provide you the right tips and techniques to control the strategic business leader paper and the right way to practice. So today's class, we will be moving towards the practice part. We are going to see how to practice the entire session within the given stipulated time period. The webinar to success will also mitigate your misconceptions. Now, there are certain see, at the end of the day, in last attempt, in my last session, there were many students who had misconceptions and they were continuously failing this paper. And at the end of the day, when I kept on asking them what are the, I kept on asking them few questions. Most surprisingly, they had lots and lots of misconceptions about this paper, which in reality had no clue with the examiner's point or examiner's comment. So you need to clear those misconceptions once and for all, right? The webinar to success will also mitigate your misconception and myth about the examiner's paper. Now let's start the journey to give you the right direction. So let's just quickly start. I'm starting with a sip of tea. You can have one at your own home, right? Okay, so the best part is that despite the fact that this is a despite the fact that this is a strategic business leader paper, and despite the fact that this is an examination Let me just switch off my camera maybe. Okay, so despite the fact that this is a strategic business leader paper, and despite the fact that it's a professional examination, again, this paper is having the highest passing ratio. This paper is having the highest passing ratio. You can easily see that the passing ratio of this paper is the highest in September 20, 49% in December 20, only June 2021 was the single attempt in which the passing rate of this paper went to a declining position. This was the only, and this decline is also not a big decline. You know, professional series is difficult. You know, it is difficult to clear this professional series, but at the end of the day, if professional series examination is crossing 50% of the global pass rate, so you can assume that, I guess, when I was studying, according to me, this is one of the most easiest paper, because you can see it's something which is self-prominent. You can see that in front of your screen, the examiner's passing ratio or the candidate's passing ratio is just near to 50%. So 50% of the candidates are easily clearing this exam. And I hope so after this workshop, you are going to be the part of that specific 50%. Again, if I can replicate this scenario to the previous attempt, I can easily assure you that even in the last attempt, the examination uh, the examination result was 51%, right? This is the syllabus area, which is in front of you. Before coming into this workshop, I assume that you all must have gone through the syllabus area, and you all must have that specific technical part of the syllabus, and you all must have gone through the technicalities of all these areas that is being shown into your screen. It includes leadership, governance, risk, technological and data analytics, organizational control, audit, finance and planning and decision making, and enabling success and change management. In front of me, I can easily let you know one thing, and I assume that that specific thing is already been known to you. This paper is in combination of the previous two papers, that is the P1. This paper was previously known as P1 and P3. Now, that those two papers are now being merged into a singular one. P1 was something related to the governance and ethics, and P3 was related to all the entire area. It is just a professional guess from my side. The strategic business leader composition is in some way connected in the form of that 25% of the paper, or 25% of the syllabus composition, if I be more precise, 25% of the syllabus composition is from P1, and P1 include two different topics, that is governance and governance and ethics. And however, the other part of the paper, which include leadership, risk, technological and controls, enabling success, change management, all these part includes the 75% of the remaining composition of this syllabus. So you have a very clear chance of, predicting the entire paper. You can easily predict the paper's content. Now, paper format. Now, I always keep on telling you guys that there are 4 different things that you need to know in this specific examination. The first thing is, whenever you are writing a strategic business leader exam, you need to know who you are. Who you are in this paper. You might be told that, okay, now you are wearing the hat of being the CFO of the company, or you are wearing the hat of being the finance director of the company, or you are wearing the hat of being the marketing head of the company, external consultant of the company. So who you are, whom are you reporting to? Maybe the examiner might want you to report to the CEO of the company. The examiner might want you to report to CFO, to the finance head, to the finance director, to the external stakeholders community, maybe the government, any other person, any other stakeholder the examiner might ask you to report to. The third thing is what professional format is being asked in this examination. The examiner might ask you to identify the analysis skills, he might ask you to write in the email format, in report format, or in any other given format. And last but not the least thing, is that what professional marks are being awarded to a one specific requirement, and you can be awarded out of 5 different professional marks, which include 20% of your paper's composition. Those 5 different parts are the analysis, evaluation, communication, skepticism, and business acumen. So these are the 5 different things that we are going to go through in the next 5 days of the workshop as well. But your paper composition is divided into 2 different parts. The first part is the 100%, is the 80%, which is the technical part, and the remaining part is the 20%, which is the professional marks. So yes, strategic business leader is a case study exam for 4 hours, including reading, planning, and reflective time. Now, this is a very important part. How to read, how to plan, and how to reflect. Now, these 3 things are, see, majority of students whom I am teaching right now, or maybe I have taught a numerous number of students previously. They are of the view that, okay, sir, we can read the examiner's requirement. We know how to read the entire paper, but what do you mean by planning and reflective time? So, see, there is a difference between reading, planning, and reflective. Reflection is different, planning is different, and reading is different. For reading, you need to identify the case study, but for reflection and planning, you need to know which model is being applied, if there is a model application in the examination, or you need to know that, okay, now how should I mold the specific model in such a way that I can help the examiner to get the right answer relating to the given scenario. Strategic Business Leader is an exam based on one main business scenario, which involves candidate completing the several tasks within which additional material may be introduced. There may be 11 pages of the case being given to you. There might be 12 pages of the case being given to you, and there are certain requirements on which you need to fulfill. All questions are compulsory, and each examination will contain a total of 20 technical part and 80 technical part and 20 professional marks. Now, one thing is for all, this is not the first time that SBL is going to test 80% of the technical part and 20% of the professional part. This is the case in every single attempt. It has been a historic event that majority of time, that in 100% of the examination of SBL that are being held till now, the paper composition remains the same. That is 80% is the professional, 80% is the technical marks, and the remaining 20% is the professional marks. So you know it very well how this basically work. Moving ahead, now I guess I assume that you know this right from day one, so I don't think I should spend more time on this. Paper format, key aspects to focus on: 4 hours, how to go about utilizing it in an effective manner. Now this is something important. We'll be talking about this one scenario, a lot of reading and retention to utilize the later in the answers. 80 technical marks, that pretty simple as you do in other paper. 20 professional marks, that's really important, because expecting to pass SBL securing 0 professional mark is difficult. Rather, I have chosen a very moderate word. I would say it is near to impossible. So yes, there we go. We have 4 hours recommended time management. You have 40 to 60 minutes for reading, planning, and reflection time, and you have the remaining 200 and basically remaining 180 minutes for the writing purpose. So your time is totally managed in a very well mannered format. So the agenda for today's workshop I've already shared with you. Approaching the SBL exam within next 10 days, maybe that's not 14 days. We are not left with 14 days. Previously, I was deciding to start this workshop 14 days before, but we are left with 10 days. So how to go about this exam for next 10 days? Recent changes in the SBL syllabus that include the data analytics. We are going to talk about that. Key resources, library, and how to use them. There are certain key resources that ACCA have issued some of the technical articles. So we'll be going about those technical articles, learning from the examiner's feedback. I'm also going to upload a video on those technical articles so that you can have a better insight. Learning from the examiner's feedback. Okay, so what's the examiner's feedback? We are going to learn from the examiner. Right from today's class, we will look at the examiner's feedback, right? Because that is something in which how we can go through the examiner's expectation. Gaining professional mark, a deep insight, how we are going to gain professional mark, gaining technical mark, a deep insight, and deep investigation of a case study on the practice platform, do's and don'ts. So we'll be going through this. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Rather than going through this, I've already shared this agenda with you. Let's just quickly start with our day 1. Again, welcome everyone. Frequently asked question, what to do in the next 10 days ahead of my SBL exam. How many past papers should I practice? Should I do KIT? What depth of book reading I require to pass SBL? Is reading examiner's article important? And how many mock drill should I do? So I'll be helping you in mock drills as well. Need of a self appraisal. Now, the first thing in today's class, before going into the class, I would want to say you need to self appraise yourself today. Where are you standing in terms of your exam preparation? Now, where are you standing? Ask yourself right now, where am I standing in terms of exam preparation? Am I fully prepared? Have I done at least one or two past papers with my teacher? Was my teacher able to give me a detailed feedback of at least one or two practice questions, maybe from P1, P3 exam or maybe from the SBL exam? Now, you need to have a look at this and ask yourself, am I fully prepared? Now look ahead. You still have 10 days or maybe 2 days, 2 weeks, including these 4 days, you still have 14 days. How would you go about utilizing them? Consider your challenges, constraint, and obstacle. Now decide, what are your challenges? Where are you facing difficulties? For example, I received 2 to 3 calls this morning in which the student were of the view that, sir, I guess I'm not writing good answers. Sir, I guess I do not have the technical expertise of writing the answer. I'm not sure if I'm writing them correctly or not. Find a facilitator. I'm going to help you. Find a facilitator and ask me to correct your mock exams. Ask me to correct your practice exam. Trust me over the fact we are not charging any single penny. But yes, for me, my regular student are the first priority. And if you are not my regular student, still you can ask me to check your answer, and I'll feel more than happy to check your specific answer. Consider your challenges, constraint, and obstacles. Set a timetable. Now you need to divide your timetable. Divide it into 2 weeks. Assign priority based upon your self appraisal. Now, it's just a suggestion. Rather, you all must have studied from different faculties, so it's good to go with your own faculty's perception. But my viewpoint, or my let's suppose what I can call it as my suggestion is that in the next 2 weeks, don't overdo the technical part of this paper. I guess you know the model. I guess you know each and everything. Don't overdo the technical part. You know each and everything now. What you need to do is, now you need to divide your timetable into two different parts. Assign priorities. More focus should be on the SBL past paper. More focus should be on SBL past paper. Now you need to know what past paper. See, you can start from the recent one and go back to the last one. Solve at least 5 to 6 past paper in exam environment. At least 5 to 6 past paper. See, you have 2 goddamn weeks. I'm available to you. I'm available on my social media account. I'm available on my WhatsApp. I'm not charging any single penny. Just give me your answers for correction, and trust me, I'm going to correct. You can ask my regular student. Yes, in exam condition means that you're going to sit in your room, lock yourself for 4 hours, start doing it on the practice platform, move out, and let yourself know that, okay, were you able to complete that 4 hours of examination hassle or not? Again, you must remember, more time on practice is crucial in these last 2 weeks. So that is something which I've already said. Spend more time on practice rather than on revising technical part. Right study approach. Knowledge, you know it. every one of you know the knowledge aspect. I guess till now you all must have gone through the technical part. You all must have gone through the notes of your facilitators. Examining team articles. There are 2 new articles that are being published. I'm going to upload a video on my YouTube channel relating to those 2 articles. I'm going to share it with you all. Um, Go through those videos. Don't spend time on reading those articles by your own self. You can just go through those 2 videos, and trust me, you're going to have a very good impact. Revision of the key models and theories within syllabus. You have some key models. I'm going to share the key models and its approaches, how models are to be dealt with, keywords. I'm going to share all these things. So you will enjoy. Practice, 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 and practice. The only way of making yourself successful is practicing. Practicing past papers on the practice platform is the most important factor that you need to do. Critically review the marking scheme. We are going to do this right now. This is something that I'm going to help you with. You are going to review the marking scheme with the help of me. I know you are not going to review the marking scheme by your own self. You are more into gaining the technical part. But let's meet the examiner first. Let's see what the examiner is requiring you to do. And critical review of the examiner's report. Again, knowledge part, critical review of the examiner's report is very important. Okay, so examining team article, there are different pages. There are total 28 articles that are being given, but we don't need to go through all those 28 articles. I'm going to share some of the most important articles. Last 2 articles that the examiner have recently uploaded on their ACCA's website are very important. I'm going to share the PDF of that article, as well as I'm going to upload a YouTube video. You just keep that specific thing for the end of the day. After these 4 days, you can go through that YouTube video. It will just be of 30 minutes of these 2 articles, and you are gone with the knowledge. Should I read them all? If not, then which one? What benefit will I get reading these articles? The revision of the key models and theories. That is something important. Yeah. Okay. So these 2 questions, let me just quickly go through them. Should I read all of them? You don't need to all read all these 28 articles. But the articles that I'm going to give you, you need to read them. What you can do is, maybe I'll share all these 28. Let's suppose I'll share all these 28. It's something which is quite easy to share with you. I will discuss the class as well, but this is just a way of, I'm going to upload a very detailed part of that article in my YouTube channel, and I'm going to discuss the article in my workshop as well. So don't worry, I'm going to discuss that article. Number 1. Number 2, uh, voice issues. Are you guys facing voice issues? No, you mean there is voice distortion, or the voice is okay? Is it good now? Check if it is good. I guess it's good now. Okay. So there are total number of articles are 28. What benefit will I get if I read this article? Maybe if you guys are going to read these articles, the benefit that you can gain is that maybe you might be in a position to, you know, have better tools of writing your answers. You might be in a position of having better tools of writing your answers. You might be in a position of, identifying your answers, or maybe writing your answers in a better manner. So this is something which is important, and it will help you in gaining some good marks. So, sir, now the most important question that each and every one of you keeps on asking. So, revision of the key models. What model should be revised? So it says, it is extremely important that you know the crux of each syllabus area very well. It is extremely important that you are very well aware of the syllabus area. See, let's suppose if a person who is going into a cricket match and he is unaware of the, let's suppose, the ground condition, is not going to perform well. So this is same with the case of strategic business leader. If you know how to write your answer, you have a good writing and analytical skills, But at the end of the day, you cannot write your answer just because you do not know the models correctly. Trust me, you are doing one of the biggest blunders. So you should know the crux of each model. Each and every model should be on your fingertips. There is no rote learning, but you should know the main aspects of your syllabus, like key models or theories to survive better in the exam environment. Not all is important in textbook, but within each chapter or topic, there is something which is important to focus on, know them and move forward on the practice. Now, that important area I have already discussed with you all in the in my regular classes. So it's something which is easily doable. We have already gone through them. So no need to worry about that. You, all those students who are my regular students, they know that I have discussed each and everything in our regular classes. So let's move towards the practice part. Uh, Practicing past papers on practice platform. Oh, that is something which is the tip of the in fact. No, I won't say tip of the day. You need to use the practice platform as much as possible. See, the practice platform, are you guys facing the voice issue again? Okay, just a minute. Let me change the. Okay, just a minute. Just give me 1 minute. I'm changing the internet connectivity. I'm changing the internet connectivity. Okay, is it good now? Is my voice better now? Good. Okay, let's move forward. It says, uh, if you face voice distortion issues in between, please let me know. You need to use the practice platform as much as possible. Um, in these last 14 days before exam to gain the right confidence over the interface of platform. It features commands and to improve your efficiency before you go into the actual examination. So make sure that you are specifically going into this examination scenario. And when you are going into this exam, or maybe when you are going into this examination part, make sure that you know that what examination tools should you take along with your own self, right? On the practice platform, 5 actual exams and 3 specimen exams are available to you for practice. So this is something important. You have 5 actual exams, you have 3 practice exam. Go along with them. So these are the exams. See, you have these examination. You can assign them. You can unassign them. You have September 18, December 18, and maybe a new exam is also included in this. Then you have a blank workspace. Now, for all other examination, you can use the blank workspace for your testing purpose. So I have given you the link for the CV platform as well. Log into this platform using my ACCA account with your login detail. Go to catalog, choose SBL paper. You know this, you guys know this, or should I go through this part? I guess you shouldn't, you must be knowing it. But let's just quickly go through. Become familiar with the workspace. You will see from day one, you will see on the day of your exam, move around your workspace understand how to read through its option available to annotate, use functionalities like highlighters, sketchpad, and calculator, understand how to manage the multiple windows, and how to keep your workspace tidy and effective. Now, that is something which a teacher will not be helping you with. You want to keep the writing part on the right side of your screen, and the remaining scenario part on the left side of the screen. That's up to you. It's totally on your own decision making, that if you want to keep the writing part on the left side and the scenario part on the right side, again, it's on your own choice. Understand the benefit of copy pasting, undo and redo formatting, and speed over pen and paper exam to really benefit from CBE. So you know it. I guess I should not waste time in this. Blank workspace overview and benefit. You can attempt the paper, you can save them in PDF, you can move your blank workspace, gain confidence, you can time it out. You have that blank workspace with word processor and everything. Critically review the marking scheme. Now, this is one of the most important point that I guess I should right now tell each and every one kid that is right now listening to me. Examiner's marking scheme is available at the end of the published answer, normally the last 2 to 3 pages. Review latest examiner answer for last 3 4 exams sitting to be familiar with the marking scheme for each requirement and topic. Marking scheme know how is important, mostly ignored by the student when preparing for the SBL exam. This is not said by me but by the examiner himself, resulting in writing less or more in the examination paper. Critical review of marking scheme. It says examiner report are available on the SBL webpage at the hyperlink. You should read at least 4 examiners report available to identify the general reason for student fail in an exam. Now, I will also read some of them, but you also need to go through at least 4 examiners report. The examiner criticism question topic wise. What examiner appreciate by saying student who performed well. Now that is something which the examiner is going to tell you, right? So this is something which is very important. This is something which you need to do in your exam as well. What examiner criticized by saying student performed poorly. These are the don'ts of your exam. Then we have the examiner suggestion. Make study partner. You have your groups being created by me. You can make your study partners. There are articles. You can divide these articles into 14 and 14. These are all old articles. In fact, now there are 2 more articles, so it makes 30 articles. So you can divide into 15 and 15 for the next week. Past papers, at least 3 past papers. Oh, this is something which you know, so I don't need to waste time in this. Now, this is something which recently changed in the examination. These are the recent changes. I guess you all have gone through these changes. For September 21, June 22 exam, there have been few changes. A new learning outcome have been included, mitigation of risk, and each and everything. So I know this. I will help you out in helping you out in these changes. What is an AI? Machine learning is being introduced, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and then again, risk control and ethics have been included. The scenario that is being presented and March exam, and you need to go through the examination of the intelligent agent, which is being included in September 21. And already I have covered the syllabus on my YouTube channel as well. There are many areas where many resources on which I have done. Now there are some of the key resources. um, you can go through the articles. There are some WhatsApp group, there are some professional videos, there's some CB formats being given. I have shared each and everything on them. I've shared this examination. Now this is something which I would want to go through right now. Look at this very carefully, very carefully. After this, we are going to go to the topical presentation, right? After this, we are going to go to the topical presentation. Weaker candidate often pre-learned knowledge as the basis for most of their answer and did not adequately integrate or apply the case material. First thing,
that you need to do, you need to apply the case material. First thing that you need to do, you need to apply the case material. If you are not applying the case material, you are doing one of the biggest blunders. It is especially important that candidates spend certain sufficient time reading and assimilating the information within the exhibit, which makes up the case study material. Often answer fail to make sufficient reference, fail to, this is not something which I am saying. This is your examiner's comment. And he's saying that you guys were failing in order to, you guys were failing because you were not able to integrate the case study with the requirement. Often answer fail to make sufficient reference to the exhibit or fail to make use of the full range of the material in the exhibit. Again, biggest blunder. Stronger candidate. Look at this carefully. Integrated and use information from the case study material throughout their examination answers, selecting relevant technical knowledge to support the applied point that were making the demonstrated professionals. Candidates should read the exhibit while keeping the requirement of each question in mind. Once you have gone through the entire paper, make sure that you have your requirement written in front of you. And when you are answering your requirement, if you need to revert back to some of the exhibits, you can always revert back. There is no hard and fast rule that, okay, once read is read, now you need to write. But don't spend more time on reading than on writing. I have identified, I've made a rule for my class. 45 to 60 minutes are more than enough for reading. Then you need to write. Identify which task will be drawing on the material in each exhibit. So which task will relate to the material on each exhibit? I have told you again and again that there are certain exhibits that relates to one and one requirement, and there are other exhibits that are going to relate to the all different types of requirement. Examiner's feedback, most important. See, now we have come to an end of the regular part of this examination. Now we have started working on the practice part. We need to know the examiner's feedback. However, candidate must remember that merely reproducing, now this is not my viewpoint, this is the viewpoint of your examiner. Let's look at this again. Let's look at this again. I'm reading it out. Make sure that you have all your ears on me. Yes. However, candidates must remember that merely, just a minute. Candidates must remember that merely reproducing material from the exhibit without commenting on it, or developing point will not secure marks. You know what the examiner means to say? Can anyone explain this line to me, please? Yes, can any one of you open your mic and explain this line to me, or maybe on my chat option? What do you understand by this specific comment? Yes, it means you do not need to do the copy pasting. Don't just copy paste your answer. Don't just copy paste your answer. Yes, many students in my regular sessions, I have seen them copy pasting, right? In particular, candidate taking the exam on computer in previous attempt cut and pasted material from exhibit into the answer without adding anything to it. Now tell me one thing. All those candidates who are just copy pasting the answer, do you think that they are going to clear this exam? I don't think so. See, I normally tell my students not just to copy paste. You can use some of it. See, if a good answer will include only 5 to 7% of copy pasting, a good answer will include only 5 to 7% of the copy pasting, that too in their own words. Although this examination did not follow a timeline and therefore candidates should not have been disadvantaged by answering question out of the sequence, it is recommended that candidate answer the requirement in order. See, it's okay if you want to change the order of your answer, it's okay. And don't overthink about, how going with a hard and fast rule. But it's good if you answer the examination, or if you show the examination answer in the required sequence. But again, if you want, you can go against the sequence. There will be no negative marking, and you will not be you will be rewarded on the answer that you have written. Markers will not give additional mark for point which are repeated or restated, even if slightly reworded. See, this is not me who is saying this. This is your examiner. Markers will not going to give you additional marks for the point that is being repeated, restated, even if slightly reworded. Candidate must remember that apart from wasting valuable exam time, this approach can also have an adverse impact on the general professionalism demonstrated, and therefore may affect the professional marks awarded. If you are writing or making same point again and again, but with other words, you are actually making fool of out of the examination. The examiner will get the examiner will get a perception that this specific student knows nothing, but just either he is copy pasting or rewording what he's trying to say in the previous question, in this question, and in the forthcoming question. So even if you're going to piss off the examiner is going to not going to give you good marks, and you're not going to clear your exam. Is it clear till this specific slide to every one of you? Yes, please. Great. Now what we are doing is, let me give you 10 minutes of namaz break, right? Let's have a 10 minutes of namaz break, and then we will go through the point, the parts of your technical area. We are going to go for with the revision strategy and the practicing one. So I'm just giving you 10 minutes of namaz break, right? Just come back after 10 minutes. This session is going to go for next 4 hours, maybe next 3 hours. Okay, so let's resume. I hope so. You all are back. Are we all back now? Just give me a thumbs up so that I can resume the class. Okay. What about others? Let me just have a quick check on my attendance as well. Okay. So I guess you all have returned back. Let's just quickly start now without wasting time anymore. Okay. So the first thing is that we are going to go for the day one. Um, this is the slide. I will share the slide as well with you. So day-wise plan. In today's class, we are going to go through the time management, and that is the exam technique. We will be going through the time management. This is the first exam technique that we are going to go through in today's class. So the top tip for today's examination is that plan to study the syllabus content as quickly as possible. Start practicing the case study question as soon as possible. You all must have started that, obviously. Work on the professional skills from the outset. Attempt each specimen and past paper content in full. Now, my piece of advice, you can write it somewhere. First, attempt two SBL past papers, then attempt three specimen papers, and then attempt the remaining past papers. Why am I saying this? Specimen papers are difficult in comparison to the past papers. So again, I'm repeating this. You can write it somewhere. First attempt two SBL past papers, any of them. Many students have attempted at least two with me in class. So first attempt at least two past papers, any past paper. Then attempt three of the SBL specimen examination, and then attempt the remaining past. This is how you should go with your practice. Trust me, this is one of the most proven result-oriented strategy that I can recommend you right now. So kindly go through this strategy. You are going to enjoy this. Okay, let's just quickly start with the today's part. Professional skills that we are going to go through in today's class is the evaluation skills, communication skills. Formats will whether we'll be going through is the press release, briefing paper, and report format. I'm also going to share a short video in which I will be letting you guys know that in order to practice the entire SBL syllabus within 10 to 15 questions with all differing formats and differing professional marks, how can we go through this? I'll be sharing a small video on that as well. Okay, moving ahead. So social and environmental factors, we have got December 2018 highlight question number 2A. Then we have the pestle factors for which we have March and June 2019 smartware question number 1A. We have quarter 5 forces specimen paper number 1 DCS company question number 1A, and we have integrated reporting 6 capital specimen paper number 1 question number 1A and B. And we have the highlight 2018 question number 2B. So we'll be going through these questions afterwards. We are going to see how these questions basically work. Today's exam technique is the technique number 1, time management, reading, planning, time. I guess you can see this. Normally the exhibit contain normally 3 exhibit. Now this is something which is very important. Normally 3 exhibit contain information to be used in multiple questions. So we have 3 exhibits which contain information which can be used in different multiple questions. These are time consuming exhibit. First read these exhibit and do your marking and referencing. Now what do you mean by marking? By marking I mean that if you need to copy paste some of the lines, you can do that. If you need to highlight some of the lines, you will be doing that. For example, include board minutes, annual reports, website, newspaper articles, interviews, etc. And 3 exhibit contain information to be used on one particular question, that is one exhibit. Just take a quick look for, say, let's suppose for 1 or 2 minutes. Read these after you have completed the reading of your main exhibit. So if there are 6 exhibits, what you need to do for the first 3 exhibits, do your reading and marking in between. Then for the next 3 exhibits, do your reading and connect it to one-on-one requirement. Now, normally speaking, if there are 4 different questions, trust me over the fact, and I'm going to prove you this, that the first 2 questions will relate to generally to 2 to 3 exhibits from your examination. First two questions are going to relate to all 2 to 3 exhibits that are being given to you. And the last three questions will be relating to one-on-one exhibits. For example, the question might say that an inexperienced accountant have identified the control and its mitigating factors. You are requested to remodify this report and present it in a better manner. Now, the entire scenario do not need a consultation. What you need to do, you need to go through the one-on-one exhibit and one-on-one question and start following the answer. Right? I guess you can understand what I'm trying to say. Read these after you have completed the reading of your main exhibit. For example, include financial projection, any specific data or analysis, etc. What to do if reading time is up? Sir, I'm done with the reading time. Sir, what should I do now? Stop. The only thing that you can do and the most prominent thing that you can do right now is stop. Once you are done with your reading time. Now see, there are 2, 3 factors that I need to explain on this. I have told my students to spend 45 to 60 minutes in reading, planning, and reflection. Now, let's suppose if I say that you spent 60 minutes, despite the fact that you have spent 60 minutes, you are left with the last exhibit. No need to panic, no need to worry about. Just leave that exhibit, start writing. Normally, the last exhibit is going to relate to the last question. This means that once you come to the last question, you start writing the last question. You can open the exhibit on half of your screen and you can start writing on the other half. Even if you are not able to complete the last question in full and you have completed it 60 to 70%, you are still going to gain some good marks. So rather than wasting time in investing an extra amount of time in reading and then saying that, okay, sir, I was totally aware of the last question and I knew the last question, I've read it very well, but unfortunately, I was not able to write because of time constraint. Now, this is one of the biggest blunders of people failing in this examination. Make sure that you're not doing this blunder. This is something which is very important. Once you are done with the time of reading, stop, start writing. You are being given with 1.8 minute per valid point. See, it's very simple. The calculation is very simple. The examination paper is of 4 hours. This means that in total, you are being given with 60 multiplied by 4 means 240 minutes. Now, out of these 240 minutes, if you take out the reading time of 45 to 60 minutes, then you are left with 180 minutes. Now, you're going to spend that 180 minutes in writing your answer very reliably, very relevantly. If you are not going to write your answer perfectly, you are going to face one of the most important difficulties, right? So, this is how the things are going to work for you. Okay, so alert. Tip of the day. Paper completion is the key to success. Sir, do we need to review the exhibit in detail if we find a one-on-one exhibit? Yes, you need to read it once and for all while reading, and then you can come back to the exhibit in which one-on-one exhibit relates to, or you can come back to the requirement in which one-on-one exhibit relates to, and then you can move forward. Tip of the day. Paper completion is the key to success. Trust me. Trust me, if you're not going to complete your SBL paper, you are reducing at least 20% of your chances of clearing this exam. Don't expect a 50 out of a paper that you have done up to the extent of 80%. I'm very serious. Don't expect 50 out of the fact that you have done 80% of your paper. This is merely something which is not possible. Unless, yes, you are writing an answer that is gaining you 80 to 90% of the marks. That is a rare case and a very unique case. Writing time, so you have got 180 minutes in total. This means 1.8 minute per total mark. How to keep a track of your time, right? Ending time in front. Now, this is something which I used to do when I was in my studying phase. And this is something which I should recommend you as well. How to keep a track of your time. How should I keep a track of my time? Write ending time in front of each question as soon as you receive the question paper. As soon as you receive the question paper, you start writing the ending time on your on your word response sheet. Starting time, ending time, starting time, ending time. You should know that okay, if this examination paper is of if this examination question is of 18 marks, so multiply 18 marks with 1.8 minutes per mark, and you can know your time. Keep an eye on the watch and strictly follow the ending time mentioned against each question. Now, see, one of the basic advice that I can give you, and trust me, if you're going to follow this advice, you are going to be in a very, very safe position. Now, keep on listening to this advice right from start till end. If you are doing one specific question, the time says that you have total 18 minutes to write the answer. You start writing the question, but at the end, you find out that 18 minutes are up. Now you have two different approaches. The first approach is identify how much more do you need to write. If you need to write, let's suppose, the last concluding remark of 1 or 2 lines, you can continue writing and invest some extra 1 minute, 30 seconds, or 1 minute. That is equally justifiable, equally acceptable. Yes, Kunal and Kamal, I'm just answering your question. Just a minute, please. That is equally justifiable, equally okay with that. But if at the end you get to know that you are left with the last eight, sorry, you started your paper and you are done with your time, but you have to write one specific paragraph of at least 4 to 5 lines, what you need to do, you start pressing enter, leave some space, move on to the next question. At the end, it is always the case that you are left with at least 2 to 3 extra minutes for your examination, which you have saved in other questions. You can always revert back to this question and start writing the answer. Yes, I'm just coming to that point as well. I'm just coming to that point. Is it clear to everyone? Do you understand the strategy that I've right now set in front of you? Is it clear to every one of you? Yes, Kunal, do you have a question? You can ask me. Kamal, do you have a question? Or should I move forward? Okay, so length of your answer. Now, length of your answer is 5 line per total mark. Now, this is a very, what I can call it as, it's a very vague statement. Again, it's a very vague statement. But just to justify you, just to let you know, just to identify your statement, I'm going to give you an explanation on this. See, it's not a hard and fast rule that one valid point should have at least 5 lines. Yes, that is, see, this is something which I wrote when I was teaching the paper-based exam. So 5 lines per valid point means 2 line equally, 2 line when you come to typing. So it's okay. It's okay. These 5 lines are the lines that you're going to write in your register, and those specific 5 lines will make at least two or maybe 1.5 or 2 lines for your computer based exam. So that is equally good. You are going to gain mark. Now, the most important thing, number of point. 1 point is equal to 2 marks. Remember this. It's a hard and fast rule. Don't overburden yourself by giving extra explanation. That is not going to give you any gain. That is not going to gain you any extra or stipulated extra marks. Please stick to this. One valid point is going to gain you 2 marks, but there is an exception. In the exception states, if weakness plus recommendation is required, make sure that you write 1 point of weakness and recommendation. You will be gaining 3 marks. If weakness plus implication plus recommendation is required, this means one valid point will gain you 4 different marks. Is it clear to everyone? Can we make separate paragraph for each of the 2 points? Um, See, overburdening your answer with different paragraph is also does not look good. But yes, if you can feel that okay, now these 2 points do not relate to each other, then you can make paragraph. But this might not be the case in every single question, because 1 point may be connected in some way or the other to the other point. So it's better that if you write 1 or 2 point in one single paragraph, that will be more better presentation of your answer than in comparison to writing different paragraph for different points. But still, it's allowed. You can do this. What to do if the writing time is up? Stop. You can all see. I'm talking about the writing time of one specific question. If I'm done with one specific question of question number one, what should I do? I should stop. You can come back and write the remaining answer afterwards. Alert. Second tip of the day: leave some line and move to the next question. If in the end you are left with the time, you can always come back. Right? I hope so. These tips are very clear to you. So today's topic, let's just quickly jump on to our topics. We'll be revising the topic of pestle analysis. We'll be revising the topic of Potter five force model. We'll be going through the Potter diamond model, SWOT analysis, environmental and political factors. The professional skills that we are going to discuss today is the evaluation skills, communication skills, formats that we'll be going through is the press release format and briefing papers report. Before starting these topics, the technical part, I have spoken a lot about the professional marks. I would want to hear from you all. Up till now, is it good going? Do you understand what I'm trying to explain? Is there any specific question relating to the SBL? Till now, you can ask me. I'm just giving you 2 to 3 more minutes to ask me the questions, and I'm going to answer your questions. Good. Any question that you would want to ask, any comment that you would want to give, I'm all ears right now. Yes, please. Smooth and clear. Good. I know I'm good. Yes, any other question or any other comment? Sir, requirement, it seems that uh, the most important way of remembering the requirement of your question is to copy paste them on your word response sheet. You can copy paste the requirement on your word response sheet and then move on with your requirements. It's better to copy paste them on your word response sheet. Great. Any other question? Any other specific comment? Any other specific thing that you would want to ask? Any one of you? Anyone who would want to praise? If the requirement has subpart, for example, ABC, how do we know that which subpart professional marks relate to, or does it always relate to the whole requirement? See, there are two different cases. If two different professional marks are for the subparts. For example, it says that for part A, you need to show analysis skills, and for part B, you need to show evaluation. So it will be very well self explained in the question. However, if there is only one professional mark line given at the end of part A and B, this means that it is going to relate to the entire one single question. That is, if it says after part B, it says professional marks are available for demonstrating analysis skills. So yes, this means that, and these analysis skills are for both the part A and part B. Is it good to prepare all format before answering questions? I would not suggest, because you won't be having that much amount of time to prepare all formats before answering of your question, because you know it very well that the examiner is not going to test all formats in one single, let's suppose, requirement or one single paper, but rather it's for the format are not going to take much amount of time. So I would suggest that once you start writing question number one, make your format. Once you start writing question number two, make sure that you start writing the format and then complete your answer within the time period that has been given to you. Yes. Any other question? Should we write what requirement relates to which exhibit? Um, should we write what requirement relate to which exhibits? No, you don't need to write this for your examination, for your examiner. Examiner knows it very well. You don't need to write which examiner's requirement. Yes, but sometimes when I'm giving my suggested answer, I normally write just for the sake so that you guys can relate to the exhibit that I've taken my answer from. But it's not the requirement from the examiner's point of view. Any other question, or should we move forward? Yes, please. Any other question? Any comment? Anything that you would want to talk right now? I'm all ears. I guess that's it from your side. Is it? It no. Okay. Is it necessary to remove our extra working from the response option? No, no, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's up to you. If you want to remove, you can remove it. If not, then it's okay. Okay, so let's move forward. I guess sir, someone suggested that we can copy paste things in response sheet while leading. Yes, you can copy paste, but don't. You can copy paste some stuff from your requirement and keep it on your response sheet. But again, you should not keep majority of the part of copy pasting in your answers, because you need to rephrase it, because just merely copy pasting is not going to gain you marks. Some question required common, how to present such. Some question required common. Sorry, I don't understand your question, please. Can you rephrase it in some way or the other? Some question required common. uh, then get what you are trying to ask. Okay, for the time being, let's move forward quickly, because I'll give you another chance of asking questions, and then I'll be answering your question. Until the time, you can try to rephrase your question so that I can have a better understanding. So let's just quickly move forward. We don't have much amount of time, so let's see. Social footprints. Normally, what are the social footprints that the environment or organization is going to have an impact on the environment? So these are some of the social footprints that we need to know. Just a second, please. A small piece of advice: kindly switch off your cameras, please. I guess someone's camera is open right now. Kindly please switch off your cameras, and please don't open your camera in between. Okay, so let's move forward. Um, so let's start with the social footprint. It says that social footprint will have some impact. That is, the company will have some impact on this overall society, and it includes the employees. The impact on employee will be staff turnover. Again, if the company is having an impact on employee, it is going to be the turnover of staff training cost. Yes. If the company is investing an amount of money in training the staff, that is going to have a good impact. Working conditions. Working condition means that health and safety requirement of the staff is being upheld, and this requirement is being kept up to the maximum. impactful manner. Then it says that the reasonable pay scale. Now, what do you mean by reasonable pay scale? You are being paid according to the market competitiveness. Gender equality, you are not being biased when hiring the staff. You are not being biased. You are not only hiring the male staff, or you are not only hiring the female staff. That is something which is known as the societal or social footprint on the employees of the company. Then we have the impact on customers and suppliers. There should be no discrimination. For example, if you have a small supplier, it does not mean that you will not be sanctioning the payment of that small supplier. And if you have a big supplier, or maybe a supplier who gives you major of your raw material, and you are giving him a priority while paying your debts, and not the priority to the individual who is supplying the least quantity of raw material. You should treat all your customers and suppliers equally. Health and safety concern. Now, what are the health and safety concern? Basically, health and safety concern means that you are going to provide them healthy and safety requirement each and every product that you are buying from your suppliers or you are giving to your customers. Make sure that you provide them value for money. There is a diversity in the labor force that you are hiring. You are hiring labor force from all the fields. You are hiring labor force from all gender, from each and every ethnic background, from each and every educational background. They have the ample amount of knowledge and the quality of the product. Value for money means the best quality product is being delivered to the customers and suppliers as a whole. And society as a whole means that the product safety is very important. The product that you, for example, you must have heard about Samsung phone having a blast, and that was something which had bring the Samsung credibility to be on a very bad stake. And Samsung even apologized. Samsung considered that it was not us who were making a bad product, but it was the battery operators who made a bad battery, and which resulted in overall hassle for the Samsung company. Society as a whole, you should provide a product safety. CSR means corporate social responsibility. So these are the factors that are going to contribute to the customers and suppliers and society as a whole. Personal data during the course of business or during the course of audit, you are receiving the data from the customers, and the data that you are receiving from the customers, make sure that you are using that specific data only for the purpose of for which the data has been intended, and not selling the data to any other person. For example, let's suppose if I say that the hospital industry is selling its data to insurance industry in order to sell out their insurance policy. This is something which is bad, and you should not do this just without having a say, or without having an overall judgmental call from the customers whose data has been taken by you. Fair business practices means fair play with the supplier. You're going to have fair business practices. You're going to provide suppliers timely basis for payment. Environmental footprint, carbon footprint, spillage, CO2 emission. Your company is emitting CO2. uh, Again, use of scarce resources. If you're using scarce resources, make sure that you have some way or the other in order to regenerate those renewable energies. Green customers, how will you be impacting the green customers? How will you be justifying that, okay, if I'm harming the environment, I will revert back to the environment and I'll pay back to the environment? Maybe you might pay some pollution tax, or maybe some other factors. Recycling, you're recycling the products. For example, the water bottles that we are using, we are trying to recycle them. The products that we are using, we are trying to recycle them. And we have the pollinatory impact. Pollinatory impact means that you are providing pollution to the overall environment, which should not be the case. You are polluting the overall environment. There should be an environmental friendly products. For example, in my country, there's a juice manufacturing company with the name of Greeno, and they say that their containers are biodissolvable containers or biodegradable containers. Now, what do you understand by the biodegradable containers? Basically, biodegradable containers means that these are the containers which specifically are going to dissolve in water once they are done. So they will not be having any water clogging impact, or they will not be having any objective relating to providing pollution to the overall environmental factors. This is something which is very important. Make sure that these environmental footprints are reduced to an extent that we can provide a healthy and safety environment to the overall society. Now let's move quickly towards the examination question. Just give me a minute, please. Just a minute. Okay, let's just quickly move towards. We have an examination question on social and environmental footprint. That is SBL December 2018 highlight hotel question number 2A. We are going to solve these questions at the end. First, let me complete this handout, and then at the end of this class, I'll be solving one specific question. I'll be asking you to solve first, and then I'll be showing you my answer of that specific question, right? This is how we are going to move. Is it clear to every one of you? Yes, please. Good. Okay. So, pestle analysis, we have the country and macro environmental analysis. Now, pestle analysis, you know it very well. I'm not going to go into much detail. These are just small specific handouts. We have political, technological, ecological, legal, and social factors. Political factors relate to the government policies, government subsidies, government approvals, license, taxations, and political stability. Economic factor relate to the economy, overall economic growth. What is the growth objective? How much amount of inflation? What is the GDP growth? How will the economic downturn be catered afterwards? Recessionary impact, and so on and so forth. Then we have the social factors, prosperous developed nation. Again, the consumption pattern of a developed nation is generally different than the consumption pattern of an underdeveloped nation. These factors are going to contribute to the overall objective resolution. Educated population, we are going to sorry. Yes, educated population, prosperous developed nation, standard of living. What standard of living does our nation have? If we are more of a luxurious type of nation, this means that the luxurious item or maybe tourism industry or maybe gadget industry is going to grow well. But if we are a nation who is right now striving to get the sources of its basic necessities, then yes, these are the standards or these are the businesses that is going to give us good result. Educated population, what is the education standard of our country? What is the literacy rate? If the literacy rate grows up, we will be having more of skilled labor than of unskilled. But if the literacy rate goes down, we'll be having less of unskilled labor, less of skilled labor and more of unskilled labor. Unemployment, major concern of every economy. So the pestle analysis is moreover the drawn impact of the overall economic factor. While writing an answer, you will have to use such factors in your examination point. If the government impose atrocities program, so it might be included in the political factor. Yes, it will be included in the political factor. And if it in some way or the other relate to the legal factors as well, then you can include it in legal factors. Technological factors, plant and machinery, how the plant is going to develop. What about mechanical part? What machinery do we have? How much amount of skilled laborers are working in our factory? What about the IT technology? For example, India is one of the biggest market, is creating one of the biggest market of the IT and artificial intelligence and big data analytics and virtual assistants. Again, American society, one of the biggest society who have achieved the impact on the IT and technological factors. Internet and online factors, roots roads and the infrastructure. So how are the roads being made and what about the infrastructure? Ecological factor, how will we be contributing towards the overall ecology? That is CO2 emission, carbon emission, carbon footprint. Carbon footprint means that if you're working in an environment, You are going to leave some positive and negative footprint in the society. Recycling, the one of the biggest, what I call it as the green consumer impact, is the recycling of the products that you are using. If you're going to recycle them, this will have a greater objective of attracting more and more green consumers within your business. Then we have the pollution. If there is more pollution in the society, then this means that the overall societal impact is going to reduce, and we'll try to reduce the harmful impact of the overall society. Legal factors, what laws are being applied. If the laws are strict in one country and we are operating our business in that specific country, we need to find out alternatives of making more amount of profitability and making our customers more satisfied. Regulation, legislation, patent, trademark, and copyright. What are the laws relating to patent? What are the laws relating to trademark? How the government help an organization in providing the boundaries, again the competitive analysis, providing the boundaries, again the exploitation by our competitor industry. How will the local industry perform if there is also an international or multinational industry prevailing in our economy? How will the regulation help these industry? For example, in my economy, many of the car manufacturers who are producing car locally, the government is supporting them a lot. They are providing them subsidies, they are providing them tax incentives, they have been included in tax heavens, because the government knows that there is a severe competition from the multinational firm, and we need to calm them down. Moving further, this is a small portion or revision of special analysis. Then if you want to analyze the overall industrial environment, we need to go through the Potter 5 force model. A Potter 5 force model, remember, now this is something which is very important. Remember this thing. This is an important factor. Just look at this. You need to mention if it is high or low. Now, what do you mean by high or low? Okay, so there's a question. If the company is listed, public limited company, so all the listing rule would also be adhered and included in the legal factor. Yes, obviously. This is something which is quite obvious. Import of five force model. Now, if you want to analyze not the economic analysis, but the industrial analysis, so you can use the Porter 5 force model. Porter 5 force model says bargaining power of customers, bargaining power of suppliers, threat to new entrant, competitive rivalry, and threat to substitute products. What do you mean? Now, in your answer, you need to mention, if the scenario says that the bargaining power of customer is high, you need to mention this. You need to analyze if it is high or low in all the five different forces, right? So that is a cheat code that's going to gain you good marks. If you're going to write that, okay, the bargaining power of customer seems to be low, and the answer is correct, you're going to gain good marks, and this will have a big impact on your examiner's mind. Bargaining power of customers. Word to look for: customers or consumers. Normally, we call customers, we call them consumers. Factors to decide if the bargaining power is high or not. Size of the customer. For example, large global customer. If there is a large customer, if there is a global customer, and this means that the bargaining power of the customer will automatically be very high. Any uniqueness, if the customer would want to may have tailor-made product, then you can charge them premium pricing. This means that the bargaining power of customer is low. But if the customer would want to have an homogeneous product, a product that is available to everyone around the corner, then this means that the customer is wanting a product which will have a low bargaining power. So customers willing to pay any premium, is the customer willing to pay premium price? For example, the Apple industry is of the view that, or they idealize that, okay, we are being paid with premium pricing and we do not need any sort of price reduction. We are already being paid with the premium pricing by our customers. So that's something which is important. Bargaining power of suppliers, again, word to look for: suppliers, vendors, manufacturers. Factors to decide if the bargaining power of supplier is high. Size of the supplier. If the size of the supplier is high, this means that the bargaining power is high. Or the global supplier. Any switching cost. Is there any switching cost? If we, so for example, my internet provider right now is Storm Fiber. And if, let's suppose, if I try to switch to another internet provider, I'll have to pay the installation charges once again, then I'll have to pay some monthly charges, then I'll have to pay some annual subscription. So there is an exit cost. So are you able to bear that exit cost? If yes, then your bargaining power can be high. But if no, then your bargaining power is going to be low. Are we willing to pay any premium? So are we willing to pay any premium? Do we want to pay premium pricing? If yes, and let's suppose if I say that, okay, sir, I would want to pay some premium pricing for your course, or maybe I would want to pay premium pricing for your for the course that I have bought from you. And because of the fact that you have taught us so well, I'll be paying some premium pricing. This means that my bargaining power is high. But let's suppose if there are many other players of this market and they all are teaching the same, or maybe in the same methodology, this means that my bargaining power is going to go low. Then threat of new entrant, look for the barriers of entry and exit. Maybe patent. For example, you cannot use the name of Coke and Pepsi because they have the patent right. And it is very difficult for a third company to enter into this beverage industry or beverage market. Government approval. If you need any government approval in order to sell a product, for example, in Pakistan, if you want to sell if you want to be a car manufacturer, you need to have tremendous amount of numerous amount of government approvals in order to start your own factory. Then government license. Is government providing you with some license in regard with the maybe producing a new product, or entering into a new market? If barrier is high, then the threat is low. That is opposite relation. If the barriers are very high, if the barriers are extremely high, this means that the threat is going to be low. But if the barriers are low, this means that the threat is going to be high. Threat of competitors. Now, what do you mean by threat of competitors? You need to look for the words such as competition. Now, competition means that how competition is dealt with. Rivalry. Are there any rivalry firms that who are from whom we are competing to? Is there any new number of competitors entering into the market, or what are the number of competitors? For example, if I always talk about the cellular companies, in my country there are few cellular companies who are selling their products, and due to the fact that they are just few in numbers, again, the bargaining power of them is higher than the bargaining power of customers. Then it says the market share. Now, for example, if I talk about the beverage industry, the market share of beverage industry is comparatively higher, of Pepsi is comparatively higher than the Coke in my country. But in other countries, the bargaining power of Coke might be higher than the bargaining power of the Pepsi. Threat of substitute product. Look for the word of alternative or alternatives. Is there any alternatives that are being given to you? Is there any alternatives that are being given? So this is also one of the biggest factors. Now, strategic positioning. It includes three things in your answer. You need to include three things in your answer. If there is an external analysis. Now, this is something important. All eyes on the screen, all ears towards me. Number one, include three things in your answer: strategic position analysis, external factors, internal factors. Sorry. Okay. So, number one is external factors. Now, what are the external factors? These include the pestle analysis and Potter 5 force. If you want, you can write pestle analysis will be the overall economic or macro level evaluation. However, the Potter 5 force will be the industry or micro level. In fact, not specifically micro level, but industrial level explanation, right? Then we have the internal factors. Internal factors include the human resources. How many human resources do we have? Do we have the expert human resources? Or let's suppose we do not have that unique human resource for which we can look upon. The financial resources, how from where we can get the financial amount or from where we can get the amount of money that we require right now in order to boost up our business. IT related resources, what are the resources relating to IT that we have and which we can use in our future, let's suppose profit generation strategies. And last but not the least, brand image. For example, right now I'm trying to build up a brand image so that in near future, this brand image is going to gain me some good amount of money and I'll be earning more and more amount of money in order to facilitate the students. And not it's not only the money, but it also include the other different factors. When can we use the diamond model? Basically, diamond model is used when you are evaluating a product. When you are evaluating the product that you are selling, then you will be using the diamond model. Factor condition, demand condition. Over there, you'll be using the diamond model. Okay, so integrated reporting or six capital, one of my favorite topics, and I honestly love this topic. I don't know why, but I honestly love this topic. Difference between the financial statement and integrated. How do should we relate to conversation of meeting provided in the scenario of our answer? Basically, okay. So may I just end this handout first and then can revert back to your question, please? Let me just finish this handout and then we can have a question answer session at the end. And then what we are going to do is we will be solving the question first. So just let me finish this handout so that we can quickly come to your questions and then to the uh, practice question as well. So it says the integrated reporting or six capital, integrated reporting or six capital. What is the difference between the financial statement and integrated reporting? Basically, third step of strategic positioning analysis is the knowledge analysis. Third step of strategic positioning analysis is the action, right? How now the implementation phase occur. Where are we going to implement the strategic position analysis? Which company are we going to implement it? So these are the strategic position analysis that we are going to go through. Integrated reporting or six capital financial statement, it focus on the financial information. However, the integrated reporting focus on overall business performance. Financial statement talks about the historic results, while the integrated reporting talks about the futuristic strategies. Financial statement is all about the share capital, while the integrated reporting is all about the six capitals, that is human capital, intellectual capital. You know what six capitals do we have? Less emphasis on social and environmental factors. It integrates the social and environmental factors with the financial factors. Strategies and decision making, short term annual results. So what they need is they need annual results, they need financial strategies, how to go by the rules of the financial statements. If the financial statement shows a positive result, they say that okay, go for the strategy. But if the financial statement shows a negative result, they say that okay, we are going to leave this strategy and move to the next one. However, in integrated reporting, the long term value creation, it talks about the six capitals, it talks about the long term value creation, how value is being created, and how do we use those values in order to get the desired result on your organization. Role and definition of integrated reporting. And integrated reporting is a concise communication demonstrating the link between government mission and objective, strategies and financial performance. Basically, it is not something which is done in isolation. Integrated reporting is not something which is done in isolation. You can't say that, okay, integrated reporting means six capital and done and dusted. No. Integrated reporting means financial statement. Integrated reporting means human capital. Financial statement or financial capital has to do with every other sort of capital. If I talk about human capital, you need financial capital. If I talk about the intellectual capital, you need financial capital. If I talk about investment in social capital, this means that you need to have financial capital. So yes, financial statement is the base of all the six different type of capitals. Then if I move forward, social and environmental context and show how organization create value in the short and long run. What are the content of an integrated report? So trust me, if the question says that using an integrated report, evaluate the above given scenario, these are the areas. Majority of people think that only six capital means integrated reporting, and that is not the case. It is not only the six capital which is going to include the integrated reporting. Integrated reporting is more than just having those six capital. Integrated reporting means that if you, even if you are giving an overall view of an organization, or you are giving something extra, for example, at the end of the financial statement, you are providing the company's pestle analysis, or you're providing the company's Spotify force model analysis, or you're giving the company with the toes or sort model, and you're providing the company's stakeholder with an information of the futuristic strategy. And last but not the least, which is something which is very obvious, you're providing the company, or you are identifying the company with the help of six capital. So these are the factors that are going to contribute towards the integrated reporting. Six capital. Now, the most important question right now is, so, what do you mean by six capital, and why are we using those six capital in order to integrate our overall financial sustainability? So, we have financial capital, we have manufactured capital, we have intellectual capital, we have human capital, we have social capital, and we have environmental capital. Number one, financial capital. Overall financial performance and position of the company, sources of fund for futuristic strategy. I say in layman's voice, I can say that financial capital is the baseline of every single capital that you own. Actually, financial capital is giving you the strategic position. Financial capital means that you have an amount of money. If you have a financial capital, this means that you can buy any other sort of capital. Then we have the manufactured capital. Manufactured capital means tangible asset, which is equal to non-current assets such as plant and machinery, current assets such as inventories. Tangible capital or manufactured capital means something which can be touched. So you have the manufacturing machine, you have plant and machine, you have asset, you have inventories, you have non-current asset. All these will be included as manufactured capital. Then we have the intellectual capital. Now, what do you mean by intellectual capital? Intellectual capital means the capital that relate to patent, brand image, research and development and innovation, technological and skilled staff. All those capital that relates to the human brain and the training of the human brain will be included as intellectual capital. Then we have the last three form of capital, which includes the human capital, which means employee matters, knowledge, skills, experience, and employees, productivity and efficiency, and staff turnover. How much amount of staff are going or leaving your company? What about the productivity and efficiency of your company? What about the knowledge, experience, and a skill set of the staff? Social capital means a relationship and trust built with key stakeholders, that is the customers, suppliers, communities, government, etc. Natural capital means environmental matters such as carbon footprint, green consumers. Are your consumers going to be green, or do you have products that are going to emit CO2 emission? What about the recycling and disposal of wastage? Are you recycling the products? What about the pollution and spillage? Harmful impact on the environment, sources of scarce capital, for example, oil, tree, renewable energies, etc. But at the end, trust me, for every single capital, you need to have the financial capital. Okay, so last part states that what are the advantages of integrated reporting? As integrated reporting is a voluntary disclosure, it enhances the organization image and reputation for transparency. Normally, whenever you see a financial statement and the financial statement is stating something ahead of the just the five aspects of the financial statement, and stating something which is more then what the financial statement usually says, this is known as integrated reporting, and this is going to enhance your transparency. It is going to give you a better communication. Maybe the financial statement shows a negative result. However, the non-financial measures or something extra that you have shown to the overall stakeholder community might help you in gaining some good momentum in the market. It integrates social and environmental aspect. This is something which is self-explanatory. It talks about the six capital and how the six capital within the organization basically work. They demonstrate how organization creates value. What do you mean by value creation? It is not just the financial value creation. It is not just the amount of profitability that you are going to earn. What about the better understanding and decision making by the shareholders, stakeholders, and potential investors? Attract investment at a low cost of capital due to availability of greater information and give competitive edge over other companies. So you are going to give competitive edge over other companies. In my regular classes, I always give you this specific example, but I would want to give you once again because there are some new students as well. When are we going to have the next break? Maghrib time here. Maybe after the completion of this handout, we'll be having a next break. Uh, in my economy, there is a oil petroleum producing company, and what they did is there's a refinery that is being installed in my economy, and what they are doing is that in their financial statement, they are specifically identifying that on their financial statement they have made a ledger, and the ledger name is the environmental ledger. On the expense side, they have identified the cost that they are going to be contributing towards the pollution of the society, which means the sad face of that refinery. Now, why I am saying as a sad face of refinery, because they are polluting the environment and they are saying that okay, they are accepting that we are polluting the environment. But recently, they started a trend, and that is that whenever you go to a fuel station, that is the gas station, they provide you a packet full of seeds in which they say that whenever you see a barren or a dry area, just throw these seeds over there, and these seeds are going to germinate into a plant. And ultimately, we will be contributing towards the society by providing them with oxygen. So they have calculated, they have some calculative impact in that. And in that ledger, on the debit side, they are showing the expenses or the pollution that they are doing to the environment. And on the credit side, they are showing that what amount of oxygen will this marketing or maybe the strategic impact create to our society. So they were given the brand of the year award by our government as well. So this is something which is very good, and maybe something which relates to integrated reporting. Disadvantages: too much commercial information, strategies disclosed. Valuation of six capital is subjective in nature. So, valuation of six capital is not as easy as it looks. It is something which is subjective in nature. I guess today we are going to go through this question relating to pestle analysis, smartwear clothing 2019. Um, and then we are going to go to the Potter 5 force model as well. But let's just before going to the question, let's have a break for 10 minutes. Do you guys need break? Do you guys need break right now? Maybe for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, because I need it. Okay, okay. Let's have a break for 5-10 minutes, and then we are going to resume. We'll be solving this question and we'll be moving forward. Let's have a break for 5 minutes. I hope so. You all are back now. Are you all back? Maybe start. Good. Now, what we need to do, I have shared a question with you all. Now, basically, it will be your part of doing the question, and I'll be explaining the answer, obviously. I have made my answer of Smartware Company, a very well stated answer. So I assume that I've already done my homework. So now it's up to you. Now you are going to do this. Let me just show you the question. Just give me a minute. I'm downloading the question. Okay, so this is the question. Now, I need your response on this. Now, what we need to do, basically, this is the part that we will be attempting. This is the part that I would want you to attempt right now. Right? Um, Smartware question, question number 1A. But the fact is that in order to attempt this question, you need to read the whole part. Now, it's up to you. I need your suggestion. Do you want me to read the entire question for you now, and then you can attempt question number 1, part A, or maybe question number 1A? Do you want me to read it out for you, or do you want to read it on your own and then start doing? Because now you need to do this. You guys are going to be live on the on our Zoom website. You are live right now, and this is something that you're going to do live. But tell me one thing: do you want to read it on your own and start doing and take it as a new task, or do you want me to read it out for you? Okay, so 3 votes for you, sir. You read it. Okay. Yes, what about others? Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read it yourself and then you can start doing this? Shamir is saying that he wants to read it on his own. What about others? There are many others, all outsiders. I would want to know. Yes, please. Okay, so majority of you are wanting to read it on your own, and that is going to be a good strategy, right? Because if I read and you start writing, then this means that you'll have to read it once again. So in order to save time, overview of all the exhibit. No, it's not some, because we are solving question number 1, so you'll have to read at least 3 to 4 exhibits. You'll have to read at least 3 to 4 exhibits. Now, I have written the entire answer of this question. I have written the entire answer of this question. Now, I'm giving you 1 hour. What you need to do, you need to read this question and start solving question number 1, part A. Start solving question number 1, part A. Now that is your task right now. We are not going anywhere. I'm also solving the same. You should also solve the same. I'm just reading the requirement. Prepare a briefing paper to be presented in the next board meeting, which analyze the environment in which smartware operates and consider how this might impact the business model, mission, and strategic goals. This question is of 10 marks. You will be awarded 4 marks for evaluation. This means 2 marks for part A and 2 marks for part B. Assess the major risk presented by smartware current business model and suggest appropriate mitigating actions to mitigate these risks. So this is a 2-column exercise. Yes, all those who are going to go for question number 1. Now take it as a very religious assignment right now. Do it very religiously. I know you guys are tired, but only one. Only one. I guess I have given you the question requirement of 1A or 1B. Yes, only 1A. Only 1A. And then we have another question of 45 force, but we'll do it afterwards. For the time being, just solve question number 1A. I'm giving you ample amount of time and I will be correcting your answer and then I'll be sharing you with my answer. I have already written the answer of this question in my previous attempt workshop, so I guess I'll do it. Read the entire question and all exhibit, not all exhibit, just leave the last two exhibit and read the remaining exhibit. Just leave the last two exhibit and read the remaining exhibit and solve question number 1A. Do you all get this? Do you all get to know what I'm trying to explain? Is it clear to every one of you right now? See, this is very important part. If you're not going to solve, you're not going to get the benefit out of this workshop. So I'll be quiet for next 40-45 minutes. In between, I'll keep on posting that I'm there, I'm available, and I'll keep on asking you that you guys are doing it correctly or not. So okay, rather than wasting time, let's just quickly start, and then I'm going to share my answer. I'm going to read my answer in front of you, and just leave the last two exhibits. Just leave the last two exhibit for reading, and then read the entire paper. Just leave the last two exhibit and read the entire remaining part, and you will be able to solve question number 1A. So I'm quiet for the next 40-45 minutes. Start now.
Okay, so I assume you all must have done the answer of this question till now. Unfortunately, I have to go somewhere. So what I can do is I have written the entire answer of my question and I'm sharing you the answers on your WhatsApp groups, right? I'm sharing you the answers on your WhatsApp group. It is a complete answer of smartware. Now, there are two things that you need to do. I assume you all are here right now. You all can hear me, right? Yes, I'm going to check your answer. Okay, great. I assume that you are doing this question. Keep on doing. Now, my request is, although I know that you all must be tired, but these are just the last few days. So just keep on practicing. Do one thing. What you need to do is solve the entire paper now. I have given you the paper, solve the entire paper. I'm sharing you my answer on all your WhatsApp groups. What you need to do, if you are confused in any specific part for the day, or if you are after doing the answer, you can review my answer, you can review the examiner answer as well. If you are confused or you need any further explanation of the part, you can write on the group or you can direct message me and I'm going to respond you. Better strategy will be that if you write on the group, right? I hope so. You all must have enjoyed today's workshop. We'll be meeting tomorrow on the same time, and I'll be sharing the link for tomorrow's workshop as well. Uh, Till then, take care, and I hope so
that you keep on practicing. Now you still have time. You still have 4 hours to practice. Kindly make sure that you attempt the complete paper now. You attempt this smartware paper incomplete, although I'm sharing the answer, but make sure that you go through my answer once you are done with the completion of the paper. It is something which is tiresome. It is something which will take some time, but don't leave it in between. Don't leave this question in between. Kindly solve the entire paper because you are right now in the momentum of solving. You're going to do a great job. If you guys want, if you guys can give me a review of today's session on our WhatsApp group, that will be a great favor from your side, and I will be in a position to post it on my social media accounts as well. Thank you so much, and we'll be meeting tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow we'll be having a hybrid class. We'll be having a hybrid class tomorrow. Thank you so much. We'll be meeting tomorrow on the same time. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.